Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Syamil bin Syaizan, and in this video, I will be talking about personal protective equipment. What is PPE? PPE is a personal protective equipment which an equipment worn to minimize exposure to hazards that cause serious workplace injuries and illness. This equipment is also called the last frontier of the wearer from worksite hazard. There are many types of PPEs used in the industries depending on the job scope and the intended protection for. As you can see in the picture, such as PPE for healthcare, inside a laboratory handling chemical and radiological stuff, construction, electrical, mechanical, and etc. Common personal protective equipment may include items such as gloves, safety glasses, shoes, and more. Let's continue going through this video by knowing 10 most common types of PPE used during construction work. First is about safety helmet. Safety helmets are one of the most frequent used form of PPE. Safety helmet will protect the user's head against impact object falling from above by resisting and deflecting blows to the head. Other than that, it prevents hitting fixed dangerous object at the workplace. As you may look at the picture, there are many types of safety helmet. The color design is an indicator who is who on the side. Hard hat or safety helmet act as the first line of defense against head injury, but they only work when they are worn correctly, and wearing one is mandatory and important entering any ongoing site. Next is safety goggles. It is a type of PPE that is worn on the eye for its protection. Essentially, goggles are safety glasses that fit tightly on the eye, often with suction, and are secured with a strap that goes around the back of the head. Safety goggles are intended to shield the wearer's eye from impact hazards such as flying fragments, objects, large chips, and particles. There are some types of goggles, but it depends on the job scope intended, as it is important to wear when doing the work. Next is safety harness. A safety harness is a system of restraint that prevent the wearer from falling from a height. The harness allows the user to attach themselves to a stationary object, therefore ensuring they will not hit the ground in the event of a fall. Falling from a height is one of the most common causes of personal injury in the workplace, so it is very important to make sure you are properly equipped. The fourth PPE is safety vest. A safety vest is an article of personal protective equipment that's designed to have high visibility and reflectivity. It is important because need to be detected by other parties who are operating a moving machinery that can cause a potentially dangerous. As you can see in the picture, there are two colors commonly used and type of safety vest to be used depending on the user workers environments on the site. Next is hearing protection. Hearing protection device reduces the noise energy reaches and causes damage to the inner ear. Ear muffs and ear plugs are most common types of PPE used. It prevents noise-induced hearing loss employees who are exposed to the noise level equal or greater than 85 decibels average over an 8-hour period. As in the picture below, that is the range of hearing protection is needed when in different occasions. The sixth PPE is safety glove. It protects the hand or part of the hand against hazards such as cuts, chemical burns, abrasion, crushing, or contact with biohazard, and it can additionally cover the part of forearm and arm. Material must be appropriate for the type of work performed and should be stand up to the task involved. As in construction, commonly used is Kevlar glove and impact resistant glove. As for extra info, all workers should have all the relevant information pertaining to the gloves, including whether or not they are reusable. Next is safety shoes. A pair of safety shoes, also known as safety boot, is personal protective equipment for foot protection at workplaces. It prevents from getting foot injuries due to slippery surface, heavy falling or rolling objects, sharp piercing edges, pinch point, rotary machinery, hot objects, loops of ropes under tension, splinters, electricity, chemical, or even bad weather. Occupationally, Safety and Health Administration, which is OSHA, requires the employers to ensure that the employees use protective footwear while working in the areas where there are dangers of foot injuries, as workers require reliable and durable work shoes for their safety. Other than that is full body suit. It is an equipment worn to protect a wearer's body from injuries or exposure to hazards such as chemical, biohazard, airborne particle, electric shock, flames, and more. If a hazard assessment indicates a need for a full body protection against toxic substances or harmful physical agents, the clothing should be carefully inspected before each use. Type usually used in construction is treated wool and cotton, adapt which is comfortable, fire resistant, and protect against dust, abrasion, and rough and irritating surfaces. Next is respirator, a PPE that used to protect the individual wearer against the inhalation of hazardous substances in the workplace air. Respiratory protection is vital on sites where toxic substances are present and are designed to protect you from dust, fume, and paint spray. As in the picture beside shows four types usually used in a certain occasion on the site when needed, either it is reusable or non-reusable. The last PPE is sun and heat protection. When working outdoors, the sun and heat can be our enemies, which can cause heat stroke, heat stress, and heat exhaustion. Working in an extreme heat lowers the body reaction time and increase the risk to the illness or injuries. Besides skin damage, repeated exposure to the sun can cause certain cancers. Long-term exposure and repeated damage can lead to melanoma and dangerous form of skin cancer. Let's continue to the last part of the presentation, which is hazard environment at the construction site. The first is working at height. What are the possible hazards? Unstable working surfaces and failure if site equipment at a high surface. The risk of exposure is it can cause workers to fall from height or any fatal accident during the work. The suitable PPE is by using harness, which is periodically maintained, and adding some safety factor by using installation of guardrails and fall protection system during the work. The second is harmful materials. What are the possible hazards? Being exposed to harmful materials such as asbestos and long-term risk from dust particles. The risk of exposure is that it can lead to a range of respiratory conditions, asthma, and silicosis. And as for the suitable PPE, is a respiratory protection depending on the requirement of the job scope as explained before. An addition to this matter is that handling of harmful material as well as a good practice method of movement, disposing and clearing of harmful material is needed to be known by each of the workers on the site. Lastly is noise. What are the possible hazards? Being exposed to repetitive sound such as drill and compressors at site. The risk of exposure is it can lead to a short or long-term problems and hearing loss of workers. The suitable PPE is a hearing protection which is suitable for the requirement job scope. In conclusion, the importance of PPE is created to reduce the possibility of physical hazard happening during the progress of site construction. Due to it, every employer needs to supervise their employees to equip PPE during conducting the construction to reduce the risk of hazard happen to their workers. That is all for me. Thank you.